Hey guys, it's me again coming on. So I have a special person coming in today. Sorry I haven't been doing as much. I've been pretty busy, but I have a gentleman named Melchizedek. I have not channeled this being before. I am very interested to know what he has to say. Simply because I could feel his strength, and he is lovely, completely lovely. And what I mean by that is patient and kind and all kinds of different feelings. I do apologize, I just came from a baseball game, so I'm a little worse for wear, but when I'm called to do something, I do it. So please bear with me. So I'm going to start this up. So I've already saged, and I like to sage my space because it helps with the balancing of the energies. I also like to chime my, just to get a reverberation going. Hallowed beings, I am with you now. Please take part in this word, as it is very important for those of you who are in the midst of manifestation, alchemy, and parallel lives. If you're asking what is a parallel life, I'm very well versed with this. If you could imagine yourself living in many universes, there are different versions of you that are simply the same as you, yet on a different timeline. Maybe because you've chosen different paths at different courses of life, and at different times you can meet up with different timelines and entwine them. Because if you could believe in one idea that perhaps answering a question in one way pushed you one direction, that direction can curve back into another timeline which is parallel to yours, and you can meet with your parallel self. Why I'm bringing this up at this time is very important, because there are many of you that feel like you are out of sorts. But just know that sometimes you may be in this hazy sequence where you are between two timelines. Many of you will be feeling this way, as it is the divide that is occurring is simply not a divide but an immersion. Both worlds and or lives and or, how could I put this? The two versions of existence are merging at this time, so you may feel like you are in between worlds, or you're in between ways of being. One day you could feel more like yourself, and then another day be out of sync and out of phase. Know that this is a common occurrence when you are going to be merging two timelines together. This is not common, but it is common in this time. So, I myself have been here on this world before. There are many of you that follow my practices even till today. I genuinely feel like I would love to speak on behalf of any person who channels. Many of my, I would not call them potions. Antithesis of what it means to alchemize. A lot of my writings have been lost over the times. The closest person, Ptolemy, has some of them. There are a few astrophysicists right now that are meddling with certain potentials that I put forth years ago. And when I mean years, I mean over 800 years ago. They found them. Many of my writings did not survive the deluge. And I don't mean the one that took place thousands of years ago. There was a major event that took place 400 years ago. And most of my works and writings were lost then. There have been beings that have erected some of my teachings. My writing was never found. So, my potions, however, are used widely. They're very commonplace with black magic. However, they were never meant for that purpose. Sadly, they were used as such. But, I mean, what one would understand is that if you did the reciprocal of them, they could be geared towards a more fruitful and abundant purpose. But however, I must say that I did not fashion them like that. It was not my intent. Soon I will be placing these potions and or notions within the minds of those that can hang on to them. I've been most interested with several physicists, and I will be expressing some of them in their higher consciousness. This will be useful for those of you that are trying to alchemize metals especially. I was one of the few that knew many things about alchemizing metal. It's quandaries for most of you here, but it is very commonplace the higher you rise in consciousness. But what I would say is that it's hard to execute some of the tests needed to know if you have the right environment in order to do this alchemy. I wouldn't say it was easier in my time, but what I would say is that there was less distortion in terms of environment, for one. And also some of the ingredients or items needed were a lot easier to obtain. Not to mention, there was many mathematicians capable of working out certain chemical combinations readily at that time. Whereas now I think you would have to rely more so on some form of computer or AI to run those processes again. It's sad when a lot of our history and our background gets eliminated. These would have been things that higher natured alchemy courses should have kept within their, how would you place that, as an encyclopedia of such, but it wasn't maintained. So I wish to impart it to those that are very well versed in this world, and I will be doing so in the next years. I just wanted to come forth because I feel like energetically this is a really ripe environment for those who are looking to learn more about alchemy. Now, some of you understand that alchemy is a transference or transmutation between energy, but the fundamentals and the particles and the energetic breakdown that one would have to possess to understand its fundamentals is not as easily found these days, because there is more of a, how do I put this? In my time, I found that magic was also a understood concept. What people may not understand is that there is a level of magic involved in alchemy. Yes, it is very scientific, and yes, it is very mathematical, but at the same time, the conversion or the energetic input that the alchemizer provides is very important. If one wishes to be a true alchemist, they must understand that some of it has to do with magic. And not the type of magic that you see. It's the type of magic that is found within nature. If you can learn how to use the elements and bend the elements using magic, then you would notice that your alchemy would grow a lot, and even exponentially. You would see that you're looking at things from an atomic level and no longer looking at it from its structural basis, and knowing that the atoms themselves will change based on what and who are alchemizing them. That is the fundamental of what a magician also provides. So you must understand that your own energy has a place. I could possibly explain it a different way. Many people could cook the same recipe, right? And I mean this in food. And when you eat the food, it's all done by different people, yet as a critic, you could realize that one person executes the recipe the best. And is it that all the other persons were not qualified? Is it that the person who did it the best had some other element that the others did not? In this case, it would be yes. Some say they cooked from the heart. Some say they cooked with love. So if you cannot understand that that is a form of magic, you've now imparted your own energy into the food, and therefore your emotions carry within each bite. And also what is transferring to the eater is your love and compassion and heart for the recipe and the food that you're providing. So it's not to say that the other persons in the cooking recipe are faulted. That is not it at all. It is simply that they are different persons. They may not have cooked in the same way. They may not have provided the emotions. Perhaps they were stressed at the time. All of these factors take place in the magic and or the alchemy involved in actually cooking the food. It's a simple analogy, but I think it fits best when I do try to introduce this element of magic and the individual alchemizer, and how one who knows magic will also perform alchemy a lot better. I do not know how many alchemizers there are currently on this planet. There are those that I hold very tightly to me that I'm very well aware of, and I do go around the planet to visit. However, I would like this, modality of science to prosper in this time, because it is such a fruitful and plentiful energetic time. So as an alchemist myself, I must say that it would be better if more would tap into those elements. Or, I would say what is most upsetting is when there's this technology infused into it. Not to say that technology is not correct. It's just, like I said, the mistakes one makes are very important. To actually play around with the elements yourself, to hold them, to watch them, to measure them. There's different things that one brings. So I would say a energetic being who performs these rituals and or these alchemical equations would probably be better suited versus that of which, let's say, as a robot or a computer or something based off of a technological background. Only because you're missing that true element of magic to co-create and conduct and to actually impart into the alchemy you're performing. So I will leave you with that. I didn't even come here to speak about alchemy, to be honest, and somehow it turned out that way. But what I will say is that many of us, and I am what one would call a master, an alchemy master, and not just that, I am that of knowledge as well, but not of the greatest kind. There are many others that have more vast acceptance and connection to all knowledge. But I will say, within my time and as my soul on the what others would call other realms or other side, I have evolved as well. And I mean, most of the alchemy that I perform is no longer earthly based. I would say that I'm always very well versed in alchemy, if you could even look at it as an intergalactic nature. But really, I would say it's more to do with a density issue. Density is one that is different for those that may not understand. I know that the person in question who's doing this now struggles very tremendously with even dimensional thought and density. I would say that there are many dimensions that could fall into one density. If you were to see it as like The best way I could describe it is like phyllo pastry. It's still a phyllo pastry, and its ultimate element, however, you could take each layer and it would still be part of the phyllo pastry. So what I would say is density represents the phyllo pastry in its wholeness, like a spanakopita. But each of the layers that you find within it, which is still part of the pastry, would be like a dimension. I guess that's the best way I could describe it to those that are listening right now to make it make sense. However, I truly feel like there's many more things to it, but I'll leave it at that. I truly did not come to express all of this as well. My message was one solely to say that aside from me being there for those that alchemize at this time, I'm also here tremendously for pushing forward a new wave in technological being, one that encompasses a more natural based approach, because we're at such a point where we need the science and we need the technology to actually work with nature more so than anything else at this time. I truly feel like I'm bringing forth my energy to the masses in this next time, simply to be that person to catalyze this motion. There's many different technologies that can be developed that could self-propel, that would do great in the world of the environment, which is so detrimental at this time. Aside from everything else you guys are dealing with, there is this notion and very expedient need to use the tools that are present on this planet right now. So I would have to say that I will be a person that's in the forefront of trying to bring this knowledge to the masses. And for those that do anticipate and feel me and listen, not just to this message, but we all can connect, and I will be connecting with those that I feel are going to make the most use of what I have to provide them. I will be doing that in these, I don't like to say the word years. I mean, in this time is, she is saying this right now to you all, but it is timeless. I hope those understand. But really, I feel very moved to be a part of this wave. And it is my ultimate hope that whatever it is that I can bring, and or any other of those that are on the other side, or dimensions, or densities, as you want to put it, are here to champion and to also provide our own knowledge and hope for this planet, because we truly are here as a foundation for all of you, because we have many ties to each other. Many ties. You'd be surprised how many persons I oversee at this time, and that is not to say anything against other beings, not at all. I just truly want to say that there's more help and hope than you believe, and it will continue, and I must impart that wholeheartedly. So I will leave you all with this, but no, if you are interested in alchemy or mathematics or quantum physics or physics in general, and you have those pondering questions, and maybe you just don't have connection to many other alchemists out there, feel free at any time. Just call out my name, Melchizedek. That is what I'm known as. But yes, I would be happy to provide you with my knowledge that I have currently within me. So I'm going to leave this vessel now, but it has been splendid, truly. I have always been a big fan of coming through, and it has been my pleasure to do so tonight. I will probably reach out again as time goes on, but I will say this, I will say that it is wonderful to meet all of you this way. And please feel free to call on me whenever you should want to. I am not just helpful with the topics I brought up, but I also can help illuminate and enlighten, and I am also a good ear to listen if you need that at any time. I am here for you, all of you. Good night. Oh, one last thing. If you ever should need to get rid of something, please know the favorite number of all is 3. 3 of anything will do just fine. Okay. Good night. Goodbye. Disconnect, 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 disconnect. Whoa. Okay, so I've never really, like I've heard of the guy. I'm gonna research him way more now after this. But I can honestly say, like, he has such a human, like, not to say that all the others that I channel, it's like as if I feel like they're somewhat distant. But I could say with Melchizedek's energy, it's like he's actually like here. Like it felt more like he's roaming here, more so than most of the others that I feel. So it's like as if, I mean, he comes from a high, and I honestly gotta re-watch that density dimension thing. It was throwing me for a loop, but it sounded really good. Yeah, he felt like I mean, he comes from a higher dimension. Like I could tell that on the stream. But the thing is that his energy, when it's in this space, feels very homely, like at home or at peace. Maybe he lived many lives here on Earth or something, but it seemed like this seemed like home to him, or like he'd feel right at home here, if that's the best way I could describe it. Like I felt very comfortable in his energy, very comfortable in his space, and yeah, very pleasant energy altogether. So I mean, if you ever want to call on him, I think that doorway is wide open. So I hope that helps, guys. I hope you have a wonderful night. And if you have any questions, or you want a higher self reading yourself, like what I do is I'm channeling other beings, but by profession, what I do is I connect with higher selves of the person. And I'm capable of helping people in some form of therapy. It's more like you become your own therapist, because the information I retrieve and receive and submit to the client that I'm dealing with is strictly from them. So it's more like you're the therapist in your own life, if that makes sense. But I'll leave you to that. Check me out on www.uphighhealing.com. If you do want to book a session, they're all there. There's 3 different versions. Feel free to connect. I just got the website up, so if you want to book a session, it's all there for you. Thank you, and have a great night. Bye-bye for now.